Welcome everybody. We're going to start shortly. We're going to wait and make sure everybody has enough time to get on. We're excited that you're here.
Gracias, padres. Enseguida vamos a empezar. Vamos a dar unos cuantos minutos para que más personas puedan participar. We're just waiting for other people to join us before we get started. Enseguida vamos a participar y empezar. Solo estamos dando más tiempo para que todos puedan asistir esta noche.
We're just trying to get the GPISD website up here so we can kind of show you some of those options. Technology is not my strong suit.
Everybody's watching us.
Is there anything else on here?
Just that button. We'll go now. Technology is just not our strong suit. Helping families and students is.
And what we were going to show you would simply be the Grand Prairie ISD website, which if you go under Parents and Students, takes you to links to the different resources we have, which includes the social, emotional, and other counseling services resources that we offer.
Estamos tratando de poner la página en el internet, pero por ahora no está funcionando. Si quieren más información de nuestros programas, de lo que vamos a platicar hoy, por favor vayan a la página de Grand Prairie ISD, GPISD.org. Ahí puede buscar los servicios de consejería en español. Solo tiene que cambiar la página en español. Vamos a empezar en un minuto.
Who do we have joining us that you can see?
Looks like we might have some families from Barbara Bush. I think we have Grand Prairie High School joining us this evening.
Up,
and we have Young Men's Leadership Academy as well. Yes. Who else? Oh my goodness. We have College Access joining us this evening. Welcome.
Got a great little representation.
Yes, Flo Hill.
Hey, Flo Hill.
We have various social workers joining us. It's welcome to have you.
Great. Okay, well, should we go ahead and get started?
I think we should.
All right. My name is Liz, and I am the Student Mental Health and Safety Advisor for Grand Prairie ISD. We are so excited to have you here.
And my name is Blanca McGee, and I am the Director for Social and Emotional Learning, and we're glad you're here. Buenas noches y bienvenidos a todos los padres y a toda la familia de nosotras de habla hispana. Estamos muy agradecidos que están acompañando hoy con nosotros. Vamos a platicar sobre diferentes apoyos que podemos proveerle a sus estudiantes. Mi nombre es Blanca Sánchez Miguí, estoy muy agradecida que está con nosotros y esta es mi colega Liz Hummert.
Hola. All right, well, we want to, first of all, thank you for the families that did complete the survey questions. We have compiled the answers from those questions, and we're going to try to answer as many of the questions involving social emotional learning and supports that we can to hopefully help you and your student.
Gracias a esos padres que participaron en la encuesta, donde pudieron contestar preguntas y también entregar preguntas que quieren ser contestadas, vamos a hacer todo lo posible en contestar las diferentes preguntas que entregaron, pero más que nada le vamos a dar un resumen de todos los diferentes servicios que proveemos para sus estudiantes.
Right. Blanca, can you tell me about what social emotional support means?
Yes. Voy a contestar primero el apoyo emocional y social para sus estudiantes. Social and emotional supports for the district and for counseling services involves really meeting the needs of the students. We believe that if we are able to provide for the basic needs such as food, clothing, and just combating some mental health needs, that we will definitely be able to achieve academic success. And so we try to meet the emotional needs of the students. And if you don't mind, I'll translate so that our families. Estamos hablando del apoyo social y emocional de los estudiantes. Y una de las cosas que el distrito piensa, y es una prioridad para nosotros, es estar seguros que estamos proveyendo las necesidades de los estudiantes, específicamente de hambre o de ropa, necesidades que a lo mejor no son algo educacionalmente, pero tiene que ver más con la necesidad y es por eso que estamos apoyándolos. And so Liz, I would love maybe for you to talk to parents about some of the ways that you could emotionally support as a parent your student at home, since we're doing some hybrid learning.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is a unique time for all students, even the ones that are on campuses or the ones that are learning from home. The ones that are learning from home are spending more time with the families and with the parents, and some ways that they can be supported would be trying to help them make social connections, whether it be if you're not comfortable with face-to-face, whether it be on Zoom or on the phone, just still making those social connections and trying to make things as normal as possible for them, even though the circumstances are not normal. And in addition to that, the campus that your student attends, be it virtually or in person, does have a counselor and or social worker associated with that campus that has time every day. If you have some concerns, if you think your student needs some support, contact the campus. That the counselors and social worker will be happy to communicate with your student, set up something more personalized for your student. And then in addition, we have an array of resources that are available, and that can be found on the mental health resources link on the counseling services page on the Grand Prairie ISD page, and that includes an array of things, including dial care, which is something we will talk about in a little bit.
Absolutely.
Could you translate that for me?
Yes, I'll do my best. La pregunta fue, primero ¿cómo puedo yo apoyar a mis estudiantes cuando están en la casa? ¿Cómo padres pueden apoyar más a sus estudiantes cuando tienen dificultades emocionales? Y una de las cosas que sugiere mi compañera Liz es que traten de normalizar todo lo que puedan, traten de mantener una conexión social con sus amigos, aunque no pueda ser en vivo con personas, pero a lo mejor vía la plataforma Zoom o cualquier otra plataforma en el internet, que se puedan comunicar, que se puedan mantener conectados, aunque no estén de cara a cara. Claro que si los problemas continúan o no, o se siente como que no puede apoyar mucho a su estudiante en la casa, Siempre recomendamos que se comunique con la consejera de su escuela o con la trabajadora social de su escuela, porque cualquiera de las dos también le pueden dar sugerencias, le pueden apoyar y dar ideas cómo puede lidiar más con su estudiante. Pero si los problemas existen y están más graves y necesitan más intervención de salud mental, entonces siempre recomendamos que pueda usar nuestro sistema que se llama Dial Care, que vamos a hablar un poquito más en un momento y vamos a explicar qué servicio es ese.
Gracias.
De nada.
Okay. Blanca, can you describe to me some of the supports that Grand Prairie ISD offers?
Yes, I would love to. This is where I'm not as nervous anymore talking about the supports, because Grand Prairie ISD really does meet the needs of students. We developed or created the Department of the Social Work Hub, where we offer all types of resources and services to meet some of the basic needs. We have a food pantry that is sponsored generously through different faith-based organizations such as Gateway Church. We also have kindness crews who are located in every single school that work to do drives to support our food pantry, and once we receive that food, it goes right back to families in need. And all you have to do is contact the Social Work Hub. We're located here on this Facebook page. You can also find out more about us on the Grand Prairie ISD website. We also have a wonderful partnership with Kids Inc., where they actually moved into the Social Work Hub, and they focus on providing uniforms for our students, and they also provide shoes for our students. So those are some needs that sometimes, especially during these difficult COVID times, can be a barrier for students. And so we recommend parents call us if there's a need, and we always have someone available to assist during school hours from 8 to 4. And we also provide services for mental health. And so if you have a question and you're needing a resource, you can always contact the hub, and we're able to connect you with that. And so I'll put the more hub information on our chat, so if you're looking for the telephone number, and then I'm going to translate.
Great.
El Departamento de Trabajo Social. Abrimos un servicio donde proveemos asistencias de nutrición. Damos comida que puede asistir a las familias durante las cenas y los fines de semana. También tenemos una organización que participa con nosotros en dar uniformes, específicamente para las escuelas que necesitan uniformes, y también ayudan con nuevos zapatos. Es un apoyo que ofrecemos a los estudiantes. La pregunta era qué tipo de apoyo ofrece el Distrito Escolar de Grand Prairie. Damos diferente apoyo para que los estudiantes puedan ser, se sientan como que puedan participar totalmente en la escuela, pero a veces cuando hay una necesidad de salud mental también nos pueden llamar y les podemos dar un referido para servicios de consejería. Okay, well, we just mentioned this. One of the questions parents really wanted to know is what is Dial Care and how can I find out more about it?
Excellent question. So Grand Prairie ISD Counseling Services have teamed with an entity called Dial Care, and they do provide telehealth counseling through the phone or video, and it is free for students from Grand Prairie ISD, 6th through 12th graders. And if you want more information about that, or if you're interested in getting started, please go to the website GPISD/dialcare. Did I cover it? Oh, and your student would be talking with a licensed mental health professional.
Yes. La pregunta es, ¿qué es Dial Care y cómo puedo buscar los servicios? El Distrito Escolar de Grand Prairie tiene una asistencia que damos, que proveemos servicios de salud mental. Es terapia y es parte del Distrito Escolar, pero también es proveído por licenciadas en terapia. Y si usted está buscando asistencia para su estudiante, lo único que tiene que hacer es ir a la página del internet de Grand Prairie ISD, tiene que buscar en la tecla donde encuentre, donde pueda buscar y participa ahí con Dial Care. Y vamos a poner la información otra vez aquí en los comentarios. Y ahí usted puede calificar a su estudiante y le pueden dar terapia virtualmente. Tienen que ser del nivel de 6, de grado 6 al grado 12. Y es todo privado, es algo confidencial entre usted, la terapista y su estudiante. Y no tiene que ver nada con el distrito, solamente que se lo estamos proveyendo gratis.
Gracias. So, I know we mentioned that Dial Care is available to 6th through 12th graders. What should a family do if their student needs counseling but they're younger than that?
Yes, so I think one of the key things in getting the needs met for your student, especially when they're little and they're presenting with some mental health needs, we've just determined that virtual telehealth is often not the best way to provide the service for our little ones. So what we've done is if you do have an elementary age student who is needing some mental health support, all you have to do is contact the social work hub. One of the social workers or caseworkers there will connect you with a service, with an agency that we have partnerships with to provide this service to their little ones, all the way from pre-K all the way to the 5th grade. And so if you're having any questions or concerns, please contact the social work hub. We're there to help. Y como también a veces hay necesidades de salud mental para sus hijos que sean de la escuela primaria, si necesitan ayuda siempre nos pueden llamar al Departamento de Trabajo Social. Ahí le podemos proveer una lista de agencias que hacen terapia para las edades desde de 4, 5 años hasta 5º grado. Así que nos puede llamar. Yes. All right. Well, I know there's some questions here on the comment section, but you know, I think it's really important, Liz, to really talk about September being Suicide Prevention Month.
Absolutely.
We know that there's a lot of things that parents don't know, and but there's a lot of parents that do know a lot. And so what does Grand Prairie ISD do and offer for suicide prevention and awareness?
Absolutely. And I kind of have a lot to say about this, so I'm going to stop a few different times and ask you to please translate.
I would greatly appreciate
Thank you.
that.
Okay, thank you. So suicide prevention is something that we do take very seriously with Grand Prairie ISD. And like Blanca mentioned, September is Suicide Prevention Month, and earlier in the month there was a certified National Suicide Prevention Week. And each secondary campus especially does at least 5 events for their virtual and their in-person students promoting suicide prevention. And so those have happened and will continue to happen through the end of the month, which is tomorrow. And so each campus is really emphasizing suicide prevention this month as well as the whole year. But for this month, it's being emphasized at each campus in unique ways. We've got different games. We have poster contests, which have produced some amazing posters. We have
Very talented students.
Very talented. We have wearing certain colors to promote mental health. Count that part.
Yes. La pregunta es sobre el mes de septiembre, que es el mes de la prevención de suicidio. Y estamos preguntando qué son los métodos que el Distrito Escolar de Grand Prairie usa para trabajar con estudiantes que a lo mejor tienen preguntas sobre el suicidio y cómo es la mejor manera de ayudarlos. Y mi compañera nos está explicando que en el distrito estamos haciendo bastantes diferentes programaciones de servicios para que los niños puedan saber qué es lo que deben de hacer si se sientan mal, si se sientan con una depresión, que a lo mejor los puede llevar a pensamientos de suicidio. Una de las cosas que hacemos es que durante el mes de septiembre y claro, durante todo el año, hacemos diferentes juegos, damos información, a veces hasta tenemos concursos de dibujos que pueden traer los problemas de suicidio a la luz. Y incluimos a todas las edades. Claro que en la primaria es diferente que a la secundaria, pero estamos dando diferentes servicios sobre el suicidio y la prevención de suicidio. Bueno,
thank you. See, and so as far as suicide prevention goes, social emotional learning has been shown to be one of the biggest, most successful prevention techniques there is. And so that is something we really focus on. We want to teach these children, and we are trying to teach these children, and we would love your help teaching these children that their emotions are normal, that we can talk about like what they're feeling. Let's talk about it. Let's name it. Let's think, I'm not the only one that's ever felt depressed. I'm not the only one that has ever felt this angry. I am not the only one that has ever felt this way, because when a student feels less alone and less like they're the only person that has ever felt this way, then they're going to feel more connected and less like this suicide is the only option. So that is one of the biggest techniques, the biggest successful things we're promoting, and we would love your help with that. Just talking to kids, asking how you're feeling, tell them about, I felt sad today, here's what I did, here's something that helped me.
Yes. Thank you for that. That is so powerful. Mi compañera les está explicando a los padres y les está sugiriendo que por favor tomen atención a las emociones de sus estudiantes. Que lo que hacemos nosotros es ayudarlos a poder hablar e identificar sus emociones. Una de las mejores maneras de poder ayudar a sus estudiantes es que ellos empiecen a saber qué es lo que quiere ser la lectura de necesidades sociales y emocionales. Y les ayudamos a poder decir en palabras cómo se sienten. Pero a veces ustedes ven los cambios en comportamiento que nosotros no vemos. Y es por eso que siempre queremos darle luz a esos comportamientos y ayudarles a ustedes a poder ver que han visto un cambio y que a lo mejor se les preocupa. Y es en ese momento que se deberían de comunicar con nosotros, con la consejera o con la trabajadora social, para que le podríamos ayudar, porque eso es el momento más importante de intervención.
Yes. And finally, so like we talked about before, every campus does have a counselor, and every secondary campus, or most secondary campuses, also have a social worker. And so, if you, as far as the suicide prevention thing goes, if you are noticing your student is starting to seem different, something has changed, you've tried talking to them, and you're just not comfortable, you're not sure what's going on, please call your campus counselor or social worker and talk to them about that. Each of these people are trained to deal with situations like this and to help you and to help your student. And a common myth is that asking a student about their feelings, or are you depressed, or asking if they've heard of suicide, that is a common myth that would push a student towards that, when in actuality, like we talked about a minute ago, a student knowing I'm not the only one that's ever felt this way, there is an alternative, there is a way out, that is one of the biggest things that can help a student. So please do not be afraid to talk to your student, and if you feel like you're in over your head or you're not sure, call your campus counselor or social worker, or the resources that we do have on Grand Prairie ISD under mental health resources. Any of those places, if you're in a place where you're really feeling over your head, call those places and they can help you with working with your student.
Yes, Liz. Actually, that was when we were narrowing the questions down, that came up where will I bring my student to suicide if I ask him about suicide? And so the answer is no.
Absolutely.
You want to talk about those feelings.
Absolutely.
La última parte que les queremos explicar es que cuando está hablando con sus hijos no deben de tener miedo o evitar la comunicación sobre suicidio. Si ustedes ven un cambio en el comportamiento de sus hijos y si por cualquier razón piensan que algo va mal, que algo va diferente o que su hijo de repente no está actuando como antes, que no es algo malo y no va a causar que su hijo vaya a pensar en tener depresión o suicidio si les pregunta. Al contrario, lo mejor que pueden hacer es preguntarle a sus hijos: oye, ¿estás bien? Te veo que has cambiado. Cositas que a lo mejor puedan empezar la conversación que últimamente puede prevenir el suicidio.
Okay. That's all I have about suicide prevention. Do we have any questions?
I think we do. I think we'll take some questions. Vamos a contestar algunas preguntas. Si tienen alguna pregunta, por favor, póngalos en los comentarios. Parents, if you have any questions that you'd like for us to answer, we are now at the time to take your questions. We do have one specific question I see, and that is, where is the Social Work Hub located?
Excellent question.
So I absolutely love that question. I failed to mention it. The Social Work Hub is located on the grounds of Johnson DAP. So the address is 650 Stonewall Drive, but I see our website is right there in the comments. So if you'd like to look it up, we do have some COVID precautions that we're adhering to, but you can always call and schedule an appointment, and we will coordinate all the services for you. But we are located on the grounds of Grand Prairie ISD.
And during COVID, we do ask that you call ahead of time and say what you'd like help with. If it's clothing, if it's food, if it's hygiene products, that kind of thing. Let us know so we can have it prepared for you, and then to call again once you arrive and go to door number 2, and then we would bring it outside so you don't have to come in during the COVID situation. So
Yes. El Departamento de Trabajo Social sigue abierto. Estamos dando toda la asistencia de comida y todo lo que necesite, pero tendré que llamar primero a hacer una cita, ya que tenemos que adherir a los reglamentos de el COVID y el coronavirus. Así que si quiere asistencia, estamos localizados en la escuela Johnson DAP y aquí en los comentarios tiene la dirección. Así que lo único que tiene que hacer es llamarlos primero. Yes, okay. There's a question about housing. Do we also help with housing? That's an amazing question. We actually do have an amazing partnership with Lifeline Shelter. And we have a connections coordinator who actually works closely with Lifeline. Lifeline Shelter can actually help you with housing. There's some criteria that you'd have to meet. All you have to do is call the Social Work Hub. We'll connect you with the coordinator, and we can also connect you with Lifeline. Una de las preguntas que hemos recibido tiene que ver con asistencia de asistencia con renta. Y si usted está enfrentando situaciones difíciles económicamente, puede llamarnos al Departamento de Trabajo Social y le podemos conectar con una organización que actualmente está ayudando con servicios de renta.
Is the phone number to the Social Work Hub on that link as well that's in the chat?
Yes,
okay.
The web page is on,
okay.
And the Facebook page
Perfect.
also has. You click dial now or connect, and it'll connect you right to us. All right, I think we have a little bit of time. Let me see. So, a question I probably should have addressed is, what do I need to do to qualify for services from the Social Work Hub?
Excellent
Y
question.
algunos de ustedes quieren saber qué es lo que necesitan para calificar para recibir asistencia del Departamento de Trabajo Social. And there are 2 requirements. One is be a student in Grand Prairie ISD, and the second one is to just call us, and we'll determine by asking some basic questions. If you have a need, we're here to help. So just give us a call. You do have to be a student within Grand Prairie ISD. En la manera de conectarse con nosotros y el criterio para recibir asistencia de nosotros, solo tiene que ser que participe alguno de sus estudiantes, de sus hijos, en el distrito escolar de Grand Prairie. Y el segundo es que nomás nos tiene que llamar para ver qué servicios les podemos proveer.
What if I'm a family and I do have one student that goes to Grand Prairie ISD, but I have other kids in the home? Am I still able to get food?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We might want you to bring your students to Grand Prairie ISD. I'm kidding, but yes, you just have to have one student that is actively enrolled in Grand Prairie ISD. All right. And wow, I see Gypsy and Dickinson is in the house. Yes, hello. Who else? Rayburn. I love it. South Grand Prairie High School and Reagan also representing. Thank you for joining us this evening. I don't see any more questions. I don't. Well, actually, we just received a question. The question is, maybe you can answer this one. How can students schedule virtual meetings to talk with their counselor?
That is an excellent question. And so each campus counseling staff has set that up. Each campus's counseling staff has set that up individually. And so you could, if you have a virtual student, you can call the front desk, ask to speak to the counselor. You can look on their website. Some of them have Zoom hours or links set up through the website to go ahead and schedule those appointments. Some of them don't. And so then you could call the campus and ask to set that up. But that is available at every single campus. Just the way to set it up might be unique to your student's campus.
Yes. La pregunta es, ¿cómo me puedo comunicar con la consejera de la escuela o con la trabajadora social de la escuela si necesito asistencia con mi estudiante? Y la respuesta es que lo primero que debería de hacer es de ir a la página de internet y conectarse con su escuela. Conectarse, puede llamar a la escuela y hablar. Cada escuela tiene sin una consejera, tiene consejera y trabajadora social, y hay diferentes métodos de comunicación con ellos. A lo mejor prefieren mandar un correo electrónico o pueden llamar directamente o se pueden juntar a las sesiones que ellos también ofrecen para los padres. A parent actually put a similar question, and so we'll go ahead and take that question. It's, what about kids that need help with their schoolwork and other things? Okay. So I'll go ahead and take that. I believe that if you're seeking some additional support, so maybe some tutorials, the first thing I would do is probably contact the teacher directly where your student might be struggling with. And I would even go ahead and reach out and send an email to the school counselor to see what other services might be available to your student along with some of the tutorials. And more than likely, I think all teachers and all administrators right now are really working closely and diligently to be able to address all of those individual student needs. So just be patient with us as we try to address all of those individually. I'll translate. Una de las preguntas es, ¿cómo puedo buscar ayuda para mi estudiante si necesita apoyo en la escuela o en la lectura o otros servicios así? Y lo que sugiero es que siempre trate de comunicarse directamente con la maestra o el maestro, y si por cualquier razón no puede o no se han comunicado, entonces lo que recomendamos es que se trate de comunicar con una de las consejeras o el administrador de la escuela, porque todos estamos tratando de contestar las llamadas y ayudar lo más pronto que podamos. Claro que estos momentos son muy difíciles y muy complicados, así que tenga un poco de paciencia mientras que estamos tratando de ayudar a todos los que podamos.
And I do know that there is a standard throughout the district, but each campus is working diligently with their individual students to try to meet any specific needs. And so any questions about specific classes or procedures, I am confident that the front desk would connect you with the right person at that campus to answer those questions. If it's the teacher, if it's an administrator, if it's a counselor,
yes,
anything like that.
Yes, exactly. Y ella nomás quería otra vez recordarlos que si necesitan algo, que la primera llamada sería a la escuela directamente. Okay, I don't know if you were interested in taking this one, but the question is, what about kids who are stressed about school? What can parents do? Who can parents talk to about this?
Okay, as far as, do we think they mean like the schoolwork itself or just feeling stress in general?
I think I would probably address it more stress in general.
Okay. So again, with the changes and the unique circumstances that are going on right now, people are feeling a little more stressed, unsure of how to move forward, not having experienced something like this before. And so, if students are either verbalizing their stress or just showing signs, even if they aren't able to verbalize it, I would do your best to normalize what they're feeling, offer options for getting that stress out, things that are safe and healthy. It could be exercising in the yard, exercising in your house, different things, just things that are helpful to get that stress out, but then are within your comfort level as far as the getting out in public and that kind of thing. And then if they're still unable to kind of move forward and feel more comfortable, then I would reach out to your school counselor, your school social worker, any of the resources, and if they need a little extra help, and there's no shame in that.
Yes, yes. Esta pregunta es muy importante. La pregunta es, ¿qué es lo que hago cuando veo que mi estudiante, mi hijo, mi hija está enfrentando mucho estrés? Estrés relacionado a la escuela o el estrés en general. Y lo que recomendamos y sugerimos es que lo primero que deberían de hacer es encontrar la manera de aliviar el estrés. A lo mejor es hacer ejercicio, a lo mejor es apartarse de la pantalla, si no sea la computadora, el teléfono, pero hacer algo que a lo mejor puede empezar a distraer la mente. Y también si por cualquier razón eso no funciona, no le ayuda y el estrés está complicando, entonces por favor llame o manténganse en comunicación con la consejera de su escuela o con la trabajadora social, porque cualquiera de las dos puede ser algo que sí se puede complicar y necesitan más ayuda.
Did you have anything you want to add to about the stress?
I actually love that. I think that is a really good segue to our question, which is how do we maintain social connection with our virtual students? What are some of the other ways? And the first thing I thought is it's very stressful to not have your friends around anymore the way we used to. It's very stressful to have to learn new systems and a new way of learning. It's sad to go to school and your friend is virtual, and so students are navigating through a lot of unknown territory, which can cause stress. And so I think the question about how do you maintain the connection, virtually and other methods, is a challenging one.
Absolutely.
I have learned recently that there are some virtual platforms that parents can supervise and have some interactions. We haven't vetted them yet, but there are all types of applications that are safe for students to use online. But honestly, some of the best ways to connect is just to connect first at home for those students who can just spend time with their family, grandparents, and just begin there during these difficult times.
And it might be things that we haven't thought about in a while. It might be board games. It might be puzzles. It might be just hanging out with your family, and then maybe if there are people within your circle that you're comfortable with, that kind of thing too. Just having that little social connection. It might look different than it used to, but it's so important.
Absolutely. One of the things my daughter did recently was mail gifts. So she created some little presents and snail mailed them to her friends, and just in a way of getting connected. So I'm going to fill parents in real fast and translate. La pregunta o lo que nos estamos enfocando ahora es cómo permanecer esa conexión con los estudiantes que están separados por el COVID y están participando por todo virtual. Y lo que no tenemos varias recomendaciones, porque claro que es difícil, los padres tienen que estar seguros de las diferentes plataformas que usan para que los niños se puedan conectar con otros niños. Pero este es a lo mejor el momento perfecto para empezar a jugar juegos en la casa con sus hijos, hasta a lo mejor ponerse a hacer rompecabezas. diferentes cosas que a lo mejor hacíamos antes, que ya últimamente con la tecnología cambiamos. A lo mejor es el perfecto momento de regresar a hacer esas cosas que a lo mejor antes nos traían mucha alegría. Yes. Okay. There are some questions that I'm not sure what the best answer would be. So for those questions that we don't specifically answer right now, what the first thing I recommend is that you contact your school counselor directly. When it comes to something emotional or social, those supports, school counselors or school social workers, that's what we're there to help. When an academic concern comes up or some difficulties in studying, you probably would benefit from contacting a school counselor, but at that point you might want to contact the school directly so that they can better guide you to just the right person that it would be to speak with about those concerns. There is a question about anonymous reporting, and do we have a method for anonymous reporting?
I got that one.
Yay!
So we have actually a few different options. So, and once again, those can be accessed through the Grand Prairie ISD website. One of the options is Stop It, and that is an anonymous reporting option for our district where students are encouraged, if they have any ideas that they want to report suicidal thoughts for themselves or others. If they have heard something violent might be happening, bullying, any of those things, and it's downloaded on all the secondary iPads. It can also be accessed through the elementary iPads, or you can go to the Grand Prairie ISD website and in the search enter Stop It, it'll take you to that page. You just have to pick your student's campus name, and then the password is GPISD 100, and you enter the information, or your student enters the information, and it goes to that school's administrators, and then they are able to respond. You can remain anonymous. They can message back and forth if they have more questions, and then that school's administration handles the situation. Will you translate that, and then I'll say the next part?
Yes. I might have some questions.
Absolutely.
La pregunta es, ¿cómo puedo reportar anónimamente? Específicamente hay un sistema que cada estudiante puede reportar lo que el estudiante quiera anónimamente. Cada tecnología que el distrito escolar da a sus hijos tiene la manera de comunicarse directamente, anónimamente, con alguien en la escuela si quiere reportar lo que sea. Puede ser de bullying, hasta puede ser algo que a lo mejor alguien está corriendo peligro y necesitan reportarlo, y nadie va a saber que lo han hecho, que lo han reportado, y de esa manera podemos ayudarle a los estudiantes que necesitan la ayuda sin tener que saber exactamente quién es el que está reportando el peligro.
Thank you. And then also another option for reporting is Crime Stoppers, and there is a Crime Stoppers entity associated with Grand Prairie ISD, which you can also access from the website, and that's another option to make those reports about the things we talked about.
Sí, y también hay otro sistema de reportar anónimamente que no es directamente de parte de nuestro distrito, pero es una organización que ayuda bastante, y es el reporte de parar crímenes. Y ese también es un número que pueden encontrarlo en la página de internet, y cada de los estudiantes también lo saben, que si va a haber un crimen en la escuela o si tienen miedo y quieren reportar bullying o algo de esa manera, por un ejemplo, pueden reportarlo también por ese sistema, el sistema de parar crímenes. So there is a wonderful question that we might need to do another parent night for. We're always looking for ideas on how to help our parents and our students. But one of the questions is, I know that we're talking about our children, but are there any mental health services for parents who are, coping with the needs of our children?
Absolutely. I think one way to answer that is the mental health resource page that is on our website. It specifies the populations that it helps. And most of those, would you say most?
I would say.
Most of them are available both to students and children as well as adults. So those are going to be some options depending on what the nature of the need is. That you could look at that and say, I'm having this need, let me call this place or let me look into this place online. And that would be a great place to start. And then again, if you have any questions personally, you could call the Social Work Hub and asking about resources, we could definitely get you pointed in the right direction.
Yes. La pregunta es específica, ¿cómo es que podemos nosotros como padres ayudar a nosotros mismos con nuestra salud mental, ya que estamos lidiando con las necesidades de nuestros hijos? Y no tenemos un sistema específico para los padres que podamos ayudarles como le ayudamos a los estudiantes gratuitamente. Pero sí tenemos muchas diferentes agencias de salud mental que dan terapia, están en la página de Grand Prairie ISD del internet. Pero primero lo que les sugerimos es que si usted quiere y necesita ayuda, por favor llámenos o busque asistencia de parte de una licenciada en salud mental que, por favor, que puedan empezar a ayudarles. Pero si usted se siente con una necesidad, lo más importante es buscar la ayuda porque no hay nada malo en pedir ayuda cuando es necesitado. Y a lo mejor vamos a hacer una noche para los padres, solamente para ayudar en cómo podemos lidiar nosotros como padres con la salud mental con nuestros hijos. All right, there's another question. Sorry, it kind of jumps when another comment is posted. Well, we have more comments.
And I apologize, I do not have the comments or questions on my computer, so Blanca is being gracious and
yes, so I apologize for the delay, but I did find it. The question, which is one of my favorite questions, thank you. Big shout out to Miss Bridget Corsinga for bringing up this question. What about brain breaks or breathers? You know, our district does a great job at being trauma informed. We know, we understand how difficult just dealing with COVID and all the changes that have occurred. And so we have prioritized brain breaks. We have provided a bank of resources, either for icebreakers for teachers to use with their students and brain breaks, which at different transitions from one subject to another, from one class to another, teachers can begin their class with some deep breathing exercises, with some mindfulness practices. That is one of our priorities. Social emotional learning is a big priority for our district, and incorporating brain breaks and icebreakers daily is definitely something that our school district is supporting and encouraging teachers to do. So thank you so much for asking that question. I'll translate. I'll go on to the next one and I forget to translate. La pregunta es ¿cómo es que estamos ayudando a los estudiantes a tener momentos de participación que no tienen que ver directamente con la educación? O sea, ¿cómo es que pueden descansar un poco el cerebro en medio de aprendizaje? Y cada maestro, nuestro distrito está apoyando a cada maestro que tomen el tiempo necesario para que los estudiantes reciban ese descanso en medio de la lectura para que puedan descansar un momento y regresar otra vez a la lectura. Así que es una prioridad de nosotros. Para mí me encanta poder hablar de cómo es que el trauma del COVID está afectando a los estudiantes y cómo podemos ayudarlos de la mejor manera. Así que cualquier pregunta siempre puede comunicarse con su escuela o con nosotros y le podemos explicar cómo es que pueden lidiar y tomar tiempos de descanso durante el aprendizaje. All right, I think we're almost at the end. We have about 10 minutes. We have a few thank yous. Lots of people joining us this evening. We are just so grateful to have you, that you took time out of your busy days to just come and learn about how we're trying to support your students and how we know that you as parents, as teachers, as educators, as a team, as a village, we're each trying to help each other. Anything you want to add?
No, I think that just as was talking about brain breaks and just whether it be deep breathing or different things, it might sound silly at the beginning, but it is amazing how you can feel a difference in your body when you just stop trying to finish or do what you're doing and mix it up a little bit. And you know, I'm a doer myself, but when I make myself stop and do something a little different, it just changes your whole outlook, increases productivity. So.
Yes, it does. Mi compañera sugiere que a veces, especialmente con los estudiantes que están estudiando en la casa, que no se aferre mucho al horario. A veces tenemos que tomar momentos de descanso y relajar nuestra mente un poco, y eso puede ser que van a correr un momento, se ponen a jugar ustedes con sus hijos, lo que necesiten para poder tomar diferentes tiempos de descanso para que puedan regresar a estudiar y enfocarse mejor. Yes. And that's it. All of our information looks to be already. Thank you to our support, to Ms. Beth, Mr. Mitchell, all of you who are helping us do this. We are social workers. We're proud of it. We're not great with technology, so we're really grateful for our communications department. Big, huge shout out to all of you, to Galen Broom, to everyone. Special thank you to Ms. Jackson and Ms. Lewis for allowing us trusting us to go live and to provide you with some resources.
Absolutely. And please, any further questions we didn't answer or anything you might think of later, do not hesitate to call Social Work Hub. We're there every day and we will answer your questions. If we don't know the answers, we will connect you with someone that does.
Sí, muchas gracias por participar hoy en esta noche. Tenemos que darle muchas gracias a nuestra comunidad aquí dentro del distrito escolar que nos está ayudando a hacer este programa. Esperemos que le hemos podido ayudar un poco, pero por favor no piense que está solo. Estamos aquí para ayudarles. Lo único que tiene que hacer es llamarnos directamente al Departamento de Trabajo Social. Estamos aquí para apoyarlos. Y si no podemos contestarle la llamada, le podemos por lo menos conectarlo a la persona que sí le puede ayudar. All right. Well, thank you again for being here, and you have a good night.
Thank you.
Hasta luego. Buenas noches.